making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, welcome to Tea Time. That's right, Miss Liz is here. And today I have a special tea time. As you can see on the board, we have two incredible couples that have joined Miss Liz. And we're going to be talking about relationship and intimacy today, and sexual enlightenment, all of that good stuff with the couples. So for all the couples out there that are listening and tuning in today, I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. I really wanted to do something different, and I like to switch it up from time to time on Tea Time to keep you guys on your toes and see where Miss Liz is going to go. So, and these two incredible guests, couples, have really changed my life and helped me along the way as well, and become friends. So, let's get a little bit of the disclaimer going, and then the bios, and we're going to get them in. And today we're going to have a double dose of teaching, enlightenment, and love, action, and intimacy. That's the teas that we're serving today. We're serving a lot of strong cup of teas out there. But before we get started with all of that, we're going to get you over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel. We're going to get you to ring that little doorbell, and you'll be notified when there's a Tea Time live. Or you can join the live stream and put your questions, comments, and support in that as well. If any of these tea times resonate with you as well, a little quick share with a friend or family or coworker, it always helps, and it helps my guests as well. And you can connect with each and every one of them. So let's get started with the disclaimer for Miss Liz. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time Live show. Miss Liz myself is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forward dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment and taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussions for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer, inspire awareness and connection, and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in today's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you decide that the show is not made for you at this time, I respect those wishes, and will see you at a later show at a later date and time. And again, original dates for Tea Times are Thursdays, 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you see a Tea Time on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's a special, surprise, or a rescheduled Tea Time. So now a little bit about my guests. Well, I'm going to give you a little bit on couple number one. Couple number one is Linda and Charlie Bloom, our seminar leaders, authors, and psychotherapists, and are considered experts in the field of human relations. They have been working with individuals, couples, and groups throughout the country and internationally since 1975, and have been featured speakers at many professional conferences. They are co-authors of 5 books, including the widely acclaimed An End to Arguing, 101 valuable lessons for all relationships, and 101 things I wish I knew when I got married. Simple lessons to make love last, with over 100,000 copies sold. Their newest book, Love in a Time of Crisis, is available now. They have been together for 54 years, have 2 children and 3 grandsons. They live in Santa Cruz, California. Now, a little bit on my second guest. Well, my second couple is Dr. Lisbeth Mirth and Freddie Zento Weaver. Have assisted thousands of couples and singles, created lasting intimacy and fulfillment in their life and relationships. They are featured on Showtime documentary series Sexual Healing and the Emmy Award-winning NBC show Starting Over. Best-selling authors of sexual enlightenment, endorsed by world-renowned spiritual pioneer Dr. Michael Beckwith. They are the co-founders of Tantra Nova Institute in Chicago and originators of June's first National Intimacy Day. Elizabeth and Freddie have coached billionaires, innovators, and power couples all over the world, shared their intimacy secrets at a global YPO Young Presidents Organization conference in the city of Love, Paris, and got nominated as changemakers at the White House sponsored in 2016 United States Women's Summit in Washington, D.C. Elizabeth and Freddie Zentel are beloved husband and wife as well as business partners residing in Chicago. So let me get the two couples in here and let's have some strong tea today on relationships and intimacy. So welcome, Linda and Charlie.
Hi.
And Elizabeth and Freddie. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Liz.
Hello.
It is an honor to have you guys back. I really wanted to do this tea time to reach out to the couples out there. As we spoke a little bit before we went live on, each couple has their own way of, the secret, that magic secret that everybody says, what's the secret to a long lasting relationship? So I'm going to go to Linda and Charlie first, and then I'm going to jump to Lisbeth and Freddie. And we're going to pop up and down, and we're going to go. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section or private DM Miss Liz on her Facebook page, and I'll get those questions out to the couples as well today. And if you'd like to stay anonymous, the best way is to just message Miss Liz through my Facebook page. So now I'm going to get to Linda and Charlie. Linda and Charlie were on season 4 with Miss Liz, and they came to me and shared their books. Linda has the book, and we're going to talk about that book. So Linda, if you want to hold that book up, I'm just going to pop them up. So you're not going to see Miss Liz for a few minutes. You're going to see Linda and Charlie, and I'm going to let them do their thing. So I'm going to let them break the ice for you guys.
So we wrote this book, An End to Arguing, because we've worked with so many couples over the years who have clashes in opinions and styles of being in the world, even core values. And we are a couple of recovered hotheads. Back in the day, we used to argue a lot. We're both firstborn. We were very definite about how we saw things, and we're really different. And it took a toll on our relationship. It took a toll on our emotional intimacy that we clashed so much. But we're good students, so we paid attention, and we got tremendous help from people who were in the graduating classes ahead of us, who taught us about how to get vulnerable with each other, how to repair when we blurted things out that were judgmental and critical and hurt the other person. And so one of the things that we do in this book is to pay it forward. So we got such good help. We feel a sense of responsibility to help other people who struggle with difficulty. If you have harmony and cooperation with some challenge in your relationship, that sets the stage for more emotional intimacy and the greatest, most fulfilling sex. I'm from the school of thought that foreplay is everything that we did since the last time we had sex till this time. And so it's about the context of the relationship being in flow, the channels not clogged up, and that there is feelings and needs and safety and challenge characterizing the relationship. Yeah.
Well, I agree with everything she just said, which is one of the secrets of great relationships. But also, when we look at, what is it that really creates a healthy bond and a passionate, juicy, intimate relationship. One of the things that we have found that really makes a huge difference that people often underestimate is the background in which that opportunity is being issued. And what I'm talking about is, what kind of shape are you in emotionally in your relationship? Are there any incompletions that need to be attended to. Because one of the biggest obstacles in having a great relationship isn't necessarily not knowing what the technical things are that you need to do. It's not even about more information. It's really more about how clean is that space between the two of you? How safe is it? How complete are you with each other? Are there any unresolved issues? And of course, there are always going to be some things, but is there anything that's really gnawing on one or both of you that you really can't just put aside because it needs attention? So, being mindful of and honest with yourself and with each other about, how are we doing? Where are you? Is there anything that we need to, talk about? And not necessarily just when you're anticipating having an intimate connection, but in general, to staying current with each other, so that when those moments arise in which spontaneously or premeditatedly you have an opportunity to really connect with each other emotionally, physically, sexually, in whatever way that that may be at the time. So there isn't anything that's in the way that's distracting you, pulling your awareness away from being present mindfully in this moment. So that, when we feel safe, when we feel that there isn't anything that is competing with our desire to be connected right now, we can really bring our complete selves forward and be vulnerable, which of course, probably, I'm sure most of you are aware that that's the primary factor as far as being able to connect deeply and intimately, is to feel vulnerable. And to feel vulnerable, to allow yourself to experience vulnerability, you've got to feel like it's safe for me to be vulnerable. So we really encourage people to look not just at what the experiences that you're anticipating and want to have, but also to look at where are you right now? Are you available? Are you receptive? Are you safe and feeling open?
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, guys. And we're gonna have questions coming in. I will get to the questions, but I just want to get the couples to share a little bit on their books and that. Freddie and Lisbeth, I'm going to pop you guys up. You guys have the Sexual Enlightenment book, and I want to talk about sexual enlightenment. We're talking about intimacy, relationship, and all of that stuff. Yes, if you feel that this conversation is a little not age appropriate, I do request that you step out and tune into another tea time. Today, I think that this is a topic that really needs to come to the table. So I'm going to get the second couple up and get them to talk a little bit about their book. And then we're going to get the questions that are coming in and that out to the couples. And we're going to have a deep conversation today on intimacy, relationships, sexual enlightenment, all that good stuff. So let me pop up Freddie and Lisbeth, and they can share a little bit on their book and their relationship as well.
Thanks, Liz. All right. As you already heard, our book is called Sexual Enlightenment: How to Create Lasting Fulfillment in Life, Love, and Intimacy. So I just want to expand a little bit on Charlie's and Linda's contribution and expand it further into what we call the trilogy of mind, heart, and life force center. The life force center is where our pleasure center, the sexual center, where creative energy emanates from. And when we feel whole and connected within, we are integrated and coherent in sex, heart, and mind. And then we bring this to relationship. So all of what Linda and Charlie shared in terms of emotional intimacy, we go further into then sexual intimacy. We can have sex without being intimate. However, if we want to have true sexual intimacy, which is a kind of integrated intimacy, the heart wants to be connected with the sex, and the sex wants to be connected with the heart, both within and with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, what Linda and Charlie shared in terms of intimacy is the key. And it's one of the main things that we work with when couples and individuals come to take workshops or work individually with us. And one of the things that's unique about our approach is teaching sexual meditation. The thing that's unique about that is, first of all, who doesn't like, that feeling of that intimacy and that vulnerability and that love and that open, just really just carefreeness that happens in the orgasmic in that intimate moment with ourselves or with a partner. Now, that's an altered state of awareness. So what we're teaching is how to work consciously with that, more endorphin, serotonin, oxytocin, the feel-good hormones, the emotional intimacy and connectedness that happens, with particular distinctions around breath awareness, energy awareness, and intention. Like, I want to stop arguing with my beloved, or I want to create a beloved, or work that's fulfilling, or a place that's inspiring, whatever it might be. We get more unmasked to what is running in the background that we don't see, that often keeps us from allowing in what we most deeply desire. And we've had really great results with people in our workshops. People get actionable insights, and oftentimes they come with already an idea of what they want. So now learning how to get out of their own way as a witness, a curious witness of themselves, to keep moving towards this thing that they most deeply desire.
And the practice can be done as a solo practice, which we highly recommend, because I cannot connect intimately with Freddie if I'm not connected intimately with myself. So when I'm angry with Freddie, the last thing I want is to connect intimately with him, or him coming to me wanting to connect intimately, So I want to recalibrate over here. And ultimately, I'd love to live in a state of bliss and harmony within myself. This is where life is becoming wonderful. And this is what then emanates into the relationship, into Freddie's heart, and then in the tantric practice, there are very particular ways of circulating our energies with each other consciously. Like, it could be circulating through the sixth chakra, from mind to mind, consciousness to consciousness. It could be from heart to heart, where we connect with, like, would you give me your hand?
Mm-hmm.
No, this one here.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot see it so well, like here, where we connect, and then we send energy and breathe together in synchronicity. You probably can already feel how that brings a couple into unity, into connection. And then, of course, also the connection from our sexual center to the other sexual center. And then we can breathe it up and circulate it just like this, up from his sexual center into his heart, from his heart into my heart. When my heart opens, my sexual center, or yoni, opens,
Now,
which is the Sanskrit word for sexual center of a woman. Yoni means sacred space, and I particularly love that.
the thing of it is that these practices are really very familiar, even if it's the first time you've practiced them, because it's reminding us of what we've forgotten, which is that stillness and that intimacy. Once we can start to develop a practice of being a witness, a curious witness of these stories that we live in, and the cascading effect that these stories have on our energetic self, then we can start to recognize that stuff, use these somatic practices to remind us of a place, and then move towards whatever our senior commitment is that we want to create in our relationship or our life.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing that. And thank you for the little exercises. We have some listeners that have some questions that are coming in. So I'd like to get those in, but I'm going to ask both couples, and we're going to kind of keep the couples on the screen together because I really want to keep that connection. I want to see the different expressions and feels and that to each question. So I'm going to pop the question up so you guys can see the question that popped into the studio. So this one is, do you think age and stage of life, young kids working, retirement affected your early fights?
I'll speak to that about when you're tired, when you have young children, because we were trying to do 2 careers and 3 little kids. I think that the fuse was short just from fatigue. And I don't have too many regrets about my life, but I do regret that we didn't do more date nights when the children were small, and particularly regret that we didn't do more romantic getaways. And so I always tell our students or our clients who are still raising children to prioritize their relationship and put it in the number 1 spot. And go off, get good childcare, throw some money at the challenge, and just be the 2 of you with some romantic time. And when the children were small and we were working and raising the kids, do you know the first day that we would do our romantic getaway, we would need to sleep and nap. We were so tired. But then the second day we could catch up and we could share and we could have that emotional give and take. That's the great aphrodisiac, that emotional intimacy. And then we could have the great sex. And we did do some of that, but I think that when you take more time to protect the well-being of your romantic and sexual partnership, when you come back from those getaways, you come back with a full soul tank and the kids look so cute. And then you're in harmony about raising them the rest of the way. And so that's what I would recommend, that it heads off arguments when you're really beautifully connected with each other. And you can get to some of the topics and head off trouble at the past if you take time away from all the competing urgencies to deal with them. And then they don't have to erupt into ugly arguments.
Yeah, we're ourselves using this term competing commitments that come up throughout our relationship, but particularly in the early days when we have kids, or when our careers are important for us to fulfill. All of these responsibilities and commitments are competing with the desire to be more connected with each other. I mean, after all, that's part of what caused us to make the choice of being together in the early days, in the early stages of infatuation, when we're just, can't imagine ever even having an argument with this person, or when we're more available because we don't have as many commitments that we have to fulfill, or we may not have as many. That at those times, we have this hope, expectation, vision, maybe, that causes us to want to make the commitment to be with this person, that I just can't imagine us ever not, or myself ever not feeling this way. But life has this tendency to happen. And when it happens, there's all kinds of new things that enter into it, and responsibilities. And also our kind of ability, to our bandwidth can diminish because there's more and more stuff taking space in it. So we may find ourselves with less patience, being more judgmental, feeling less, that there's less available for me to give to this part of myself. Because when we're taking care of kids, when we're working, when we're living our purposeful life, there's a certain way of being that we take on, that's more purposeful, more goal-oriented, less present, if you will. And so we have to transfer or recalibrate that way of being in a way that we can be with our partner in a whole different way.
Mm-hmm.
So going back and forth between these ways of being, it can be challenging to do that. I remember when I was younger and I was in the early days of my career, where I had to maintain a certain kind of a presence and image. I would come home sometimes after a long trip, and my way of being was still in the workplace. I hadn't yet completely disengaged from that attitude that I had to carry with me at work, because I was gone usually for a week at a time, and it had been pretty deeply integrated into me. And sometimes I would come home and I would be bringing that same attitude, and Linda would have to remind me sometimes, hey, take off your work hat, because you're here as a partner and as a dad now. I mean, she wouldn't say it quite that nicely, but I get the message.
Right before the fight started, you got the message, Charlie. Lisbeth and Freddie, I'm going to give you guys the same question. I'll bring it up again. So, do you think age and stage of life, young kids, working, retirement, affected your early fights?
Well, we met later in life. We were in our mid and late 40s. We've been together for 24 years now. And almost 6 months to the day, we what I call transcended the romantic drama. We were both in corporate America and had careers in that. I was in the software business and Elspeth was in international business consulting. And we were both I was looking for something that was much more invigorating and vitalizing and engaging than what I'd been doing in the software business for 15 years. So, we created this work this is the baby we had. So we really didn't have a lot of fights. We had a lot of excitement and energy and creativity and intimacy, creating what we've been doing for the last, 25 years all over the world, and so on. So, our fights are few and in between. When they happen, they're quick and they're quickly gone. And these practices of being the witness of what I'm stuck in, something happens and then it's there, honestly and authentically. And then pretty quickly, I've scanned myself and I'm now choosing to shift that energy. And so, stuff doesn't stop happening. It just doesn't stick around as long then or now.
Key of all of this, what all of you just said so far, Charlie, Linda, and Freddie, is practice.
Moment by moment.
Yeah. To practice by myself and practice in the relationship, like this presence Charlie talks about. Presence is the greatest gift that we can give to ourselves, our beloved, or a child, because it shows up in the moment, and the moment is the only thing we have. And so cultivating presence has something to do then, or influences my awareness of self, and then also awareness of the other. So how do we create presence? How do we bring forth awareness? And that can only happen when I become self-reflective, when I look at myself. And the other part is, of course, and have practices with myself and with Freddie. Like when he said, things don't stop happening. However, the fights may not last that long. But that has been cultivated, and consciously cultivated, because it really has to do with what is my intention for my life and my relationship. Am I committed when things don't go the way I want them to go, when Freddie doesn't give me what I want from him, whatever domain it may be in? I can get pissed off. I can get very angry. I can, fall back into when I didn't get something from my parents when I was 5 years old, as far as the experience is concerned. How do I move myself into a state of presence where I then can discern, Elspeth, committed to being angry and self-righteous that Freddie is wrong and I'm right fundamentally, that is always in the background, or am I more committed to harmony in the relationship? And usually the latter, wins out. But that I had to work a lot on me and on myself. And the tantric practice has helped me and has supported our relationship in coming to our belly breath, which allows us, by activating the belly, the feel-good hormones get activated. So instead of staying in that impulse of anger, the hormones help me to calm down a little bit. And when I can bring my focus on the breath, that gives me a little pause. And in that pause, I ask myself the question, Elspeth, are you committed to being right? Or are you committing to being connected and in harmony with body? With Freddie, with body too.
With body, absolutely. First.
What we do is we remind each other of that, and we have the permission. We wouldn't be able to do it in the moment of heat to remind each other if we hadn't given each other permission before the intensity.
Yeah, one of the keys to this is, owning your upsets, the energy of the upset. Not that there may not be a request to be made or something that you want to work out. It's the anger, the upset, the make wrong, the feeling done to, that we have to own as individuals to be able to either let it go or make a request or, change something.
Transmute it.
Yes.
What I really like about the two couples is the age gap, right? Is Linda and Charlie been together 54 years? Lisbeth and Freddie, you've been together 24 years. So there's almost that a 25-year gap, right? But you're both speaking on the same stuff. You're still talking about being present, being connected, having that communication. We have a question here. For young couples that first get together, how can we have a healthy talk about intimacy and what our preferences are, what our likes are, what our dislikes are? How can we start that conversation?
Great question. And we define intimacy as in to me see. And if you look up in the dictionary, intimacy, it says innermost. So we have intimate conversations with only a small handful of people who are precious to us, the trusted ones, the confidants. And we will show those people that they are on our special list, on the A list. And I will let you see into me. I will let you see my feelings, all of them. I'll let you see my anger. I'll let you see my desire. I will let you see my insecurities and my fears and my loneliness. I will let you see my wildest dreams for my life, my ambition, and my needs, my feelings, and my needs. And I don't talk with other people just any old body like this. I choose to create the kind of trust where we don't have any no-fly zones, where there are no taboo subjects. And it's a practice because many people did not have any models in their family of origin where they really spoke from their heart and did get vulnerable and spoke about their fears and what hurt them and what disappointed them and their wild dreams for their life. And you must practice to get good at it. Just like the accomplishment of business professionals that are at the top of their field, or musicians or athletes, they put in their 10,000 hours of practice. And so to sit with our beloved and to have conversations, Charlie and I for decades have been having a daily check-in with each other. No matter where we are in the world, we talk, we Zoom, we meet each other. Usually we do it first thing in the morning. I'm a touchaholic, so we do it with skin time in it, so that we're in bodily contact with each other. And we might talk about what's going on during the day. Maybe we'll discuss cases that we're working with. Maybe we'll speak about anything that's bothering us, because we have this intolerance for incompletion. And all of the couples that we're working with, we're inviting them. They sometimes don't check in with each other at all. They're living such parallel lives. To start with once a week and just check in with yourself, have an intimate moment with yourself, and then report out and reveal rather than conceal. And that's what we're trying to help people work up their courage to reveal themselves to each other. And when they start having some successes, they want to do it more frequently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the 4 words that strike terror into most men's hearts, and it could be women too, but it's more often than not men, is we need to talk.
That's like, oh God, I got to get out of here. I got to go.
That is,
car or something, right?
Yeah, that is the very worst way to begin a conversation about some of the topics that we're talking about here. And the way you introduce that desire, that invitation, makes such a big difference in terms of where it's going to go from there. Because if there's a sense of threat in what the person receives when you're speaking, if there's something in it that doesn't feel inviting or comfortable or caring,
they want to run to the hills.
Yeah.
The garage is calling me.
At the very least, they're going to get defensive. And once somebody gets defensive, it takes a little time and work, if you can't, to cool them down. And they may not be cool downable at that time. They may have already gotten plugged into, oh shit, here it comes again. Just to keep in mind that this is an invitation, not a directive, not something that you're telling the person that they need to do, to provide them with something that might be appealing, and also to let them know, and this is really important, that what you want in this conversation. I like to have a conversation about something that's really meaningful to me. Do you have time for it? Just to check to see if they're available. And if they are, to make it clear, this is my intention. This is my intention in having this conversation. This is what I want to have happen. I'm hoping to have happen. And just getting started on that foot, saying something in your intention that the other person will hear as being of benefit to both of you. That's a great start. And if you start off on the right foot and you try to keep your directives and your judgments out of the conversation and just speak from your desires, your needs, your hopes, your care for the relationship and for your partner, you're more likely to stay on track.
And Lisbeth and Freddie, how do you feel about that for young couples? How do they get the conversation going?
Oh, wow. So I'm just recalling a couple that came to us recently for a 3-month private program. And they were, I mean, I had a phone call with her before, they even came. And she was, almost ready to, I mean, this is not working any longer. Really resigned, despaired, and resentful. And so she brought her husband in. Her husband was very gung-ho to get the work going, which is not necessarily a given. And so they came together, and in the process of working with us, they found each other again. And it really happened through the learning of each other what their heart's desire is. Heart's desire in an emotional sense, how they want to feel, how they want to feel being connected. And that may be different for a woman from a man, or for the one who is more in their yin energy or feminine energy. Could be a same-sex couple, It's always one more in their feminine and the other more in their masculine. I'm not talking across the board in the relationship, but in the intimate field, that is usually how it shows up. If that polarity is not there of yin and yang, or feminine and masculine, there is no attraction, there is no magnetism. So for her, it was really, for that couple who came to us, was really to be listened to. What is important to her, both in an emotional sense and also in a sexual sense. Because often, when two partners want to connect with each other, most men start feeling it in their sexual center. Most women, or the one who is in their feminine, when they want to connect, they start feeling it in their heart center. We have the same intention, which is we want to connect. Yet he feels it from his sexual center. She feels it from her heart center. So we are like two ships passing in the night. And so the awareness then for that couple was that the man started to listen to her from a whole different place, not necessarily just where he is automatically coming from, which is totally fine for him, but not a connector to his beloved. And for her, what she opened up to was what he wanted actually was to feel safe in her presence, which was actually not so much her thing, but she needed to be aware of, because that was not feeling safe was something that he brought from his earlier time of his life that then kicked in the relationship. So the listening back to how can we open up intimate conversation, emotional, sexual, intimate conversation, is that we start listening to each other and then listening to the differences. Because if I cannot listen to what Freddie is about, I never will get him, and he doesn't feel gotten. And that is the antidote of opening, particularly intimately.
Yeah, for the man, particularly the polarity dance, because for men, we're kind of modeled and sort of wired to, show two emotions. That's, excuse my French, fucking or fighting. So intimacy, vulnerability, nurturing is like not considered okay for men. Don't cry, kind of a thing. So in the practices that we're, exposing, teaching, sharing, men start to get a broader opportunity of experience with their emotional selves. And that really opens up a lot as a listener to themselves, firstly, and then able to sit and be with their partners when they're in the emotional states. And so that dance can happen a little more fluidly. And then they can get back to the love, which is ultimately what we want to do. So it's really been fun sharing this with people and seeing what happens, because again, It's not anything new. It's just remembering the stillness, because we started out in the womb. It was womb service, and we were just floating in the embryonic fluid, and it was effortless and free and fun. And then all of a sudden, whoosh, we're born. Some guys are getting whacked in the bottom and getting their wee-wees cut, and you're thinking, if you could, send me back. And then life happens, all this good and bad and ups and downs. And then we get to a point in our life at some point where we want to create something that we've never had before.
Mm-hmm.
Which is our connection to this elegant design of a universe that goes on forever. And so the practices of starting to live into the dream that we're dreaming for our lives is the great opportunity. And it's been great to see that unfold for people and myself.
Well, we have a question here for the men, and I'm going to pull it up. So this is for Charlie and Freddie. Do men change how they share emotions with their wives as they age?
I wouldn't say that it's inevitable that happens. I think there's a lot of factors that determine how they deal with the emotions. Feelings just come uninvited. I mean, there isn't really anything that we can do to control what feelings show up at any given moment. They seem to be just something that's inherent in what's going on within us and around us, and so they get activated. So we don't have any control over deciding what we feel, what emotions we're there, but we do have control over the way in which we respond to our emotions and from our emotions, and hopefully in the process of maturing, and particularly if we live in a healthy relationship, we learn more productive, more responsible, more meaningful ways of responding. We become aware of our emotions. We can relate to them from a place of acceptance rather than judgmental, and that's going to change the way in which we react and respond to other people, particularly to our partner. So, I don't think it's inevitable that feelings change or men change, but hopefully we grow, we become more aware, and that awareness enables us to make choices that were not available. Those options weren't available to us when we were younger, and all we knew was what we were bringing into our lives and our relationship that we learned from our families. And if we're like most people, there are a lot of things that we didn't learn that would have been helpful, but it's never too late.
And Freddie?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, back to the womb, we're zygotes in the womb, and it's decided man or woman. And, as a man, we have more testosterone, women have more estrogen. And as we get older, the whole thing reverses itself. So biologically, with aging, we get a little more mellow. So, emotions may be there, but we may not strike out like we did when we were 20, when we were in our 60s or whatever, 80s or whatever. So that can shift, yet the angst and the upset and the internal churning can still be there. So the practice of being really self-aware, just doing some parasympathetic breathing and watching the thoughts and just not reacting to the cascading effect of what happens with believing and falling totally into our thoughts and stories and beliefs. Can shift. And that's really the opportunity for the man, is to really start to get a handle on that. And for the woman as well, but particularly for the man in terms of the testosterone and how that can affect the stories and beliefs and so on. So that's all I got to say about that. Good, Charlie. I think Charlie pretty much handled it.
Yeah.
We have a question here. If there is no sexual connection longer in the relationship, can the relationship be repaired and continue?
So I have heard from multiple people over the years that once the fire goes out, it can't be rekindled. But I don't believe in that, because I have seen the people who believe that the fire is completely gone and there may be some cold ash, but there can be an ember underneath. So it has to do whether there's a fierce commitment to find it, to reinvigorate it, to see how did it get so covered over that they really worried that it was gone forever. And I have seen it be rekindled. I'm not saying it doesn't take a lot of work. And I feel sad when I think about the people who let the sexual vibrancy go out of their relationship and give it up, because I think it's such an enlivening energy, and it's such a handy way to show love and to bring pleasure to each other's bodies. And people give up too soon, and they often don't go see the professionals who could help them clear away that cold ash, and to help them not to be so afraid of each other and so distant of each other, and at least make right effort to see if it could be rekindled slowly, respectfully, no force, all the invitation. Maybe they start just with touching, just holding hands, just with emotional intimacy, and build the safety and security and challenge, because too much safety and security can get boring, predictable and stagnant. There has to be a bit of edge of discovery, and you need some courage to do that. But I have seen it rekindled, and so I believe that it's possible if people want to work.
And how do you guys feel about that, Freddie and Lisbeth?
So, many couples come to us for that very reason. Not all, but, quite a number. Also in mid-age. The kids have gone for college, or, and then they find themselves with each other, and they are perhaps great friends. But that fire that Linda speaks about has left. And so it's essential to connect with one's own fire, because nobody can fire me up unless I'm connected with the fire within. Mm-hmm. And of course, in relationship, we can practice this together. Again, that leads me back to that space of safety, because the sexual intimate connection or revealing is so delicate, where we reveal ourselves. And so when we work with couples, no matter if they come to a workshop or if they work privately with us, for the beginning part, for quite a while, actually, we just focus on emotional intimacy, where sexual stuff may show up, but not hands-on practice. Because if we were to go to the hands-on practice right away, just the same stuff would open up, because it has to do with the nervous system. And unless we recalibrate the nervous system, there's no change. And so to tap into that emotional intimacy that also leads us to open conversations with each other and with oneself, mm-hmm. is the gateway into sexual rituals. After they have done the foundational work, where they have reconnected their hearts, or they're listening or speaking up what they want or what they don't want, what's important, what they may be afraid of. And so it's really a gradual leading either back to what may have been there once when they fell in love with each other. For some, it's actually a whole new discovery, because they are not 20 anymore, they are not 30 anymore. There's lots of maturity, wisdom in many ways, that is then brought to that intimate connection, and perhaps also to a clarity how we want to experience intimacy now, which may show up very differently. you know?
Right. I was going to say, designing a relationship, because it starts out, oh my God, I just love everything about you, the way your feet smell and your underarms. I just love you. And then after about 3 years, you need to take a bath. Okay. So it's never like it was or like it's going to be. It's like it is. So, what practices can we employ that will keep us, vibrant and alive and really being creatively Vesuvius and improvisational about this life that we're in together? And it's, it might be, you're monogamous at one point, and then maybe you be open, or maybe you're who knows? There's all kinds of approaches. So what do you have in the relationship that is the reason to be together? How do you assist each other in dancing more in this time? And that's where you can really start to look honestly at the relationship. And most of us are kind of in a fantasy about it, some drama in relationships. So, just running to the next hottest sexual experience is about 2-3 years, and then you're back with yourself again. So how can you use what you've evolved with your relationship? Maybe you've got 10-20 years in with each other. What works, what doesn't? I believe in relationship agreement, where you actually put things down and reevaluate them over 6 months.
I have a footnote here to what Freddie said, which is like, it's by design what kind of relationship, also intimate relationship, we want to have together. What I mean by design, so when Freddie said we are monogamous, and then if there is the wish to open up the relationship by design, not as an escape.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is just unconscious, and it's not so great here, let me go somewhere else. And then, as Freddie said, then I come back to myself, to my mystery. If by design it's very different, and by design, the relationship design, it's about expansion. Because when we open up the relationship, that one or the other can also be with another lover, that requires a phenomenal mastery of both partners. Mastery of jealousy, of envy,
Possessiveness,
of feeling abandoned at moments, or all kinds of stuff may show up. And only if you're willing to encounter yourself consciously there, don't do it. I mean, you can do it as an escape, but nothing is going to change what you may not like in your current relationship.
Mm-hmm.
What I really getting from today's conversation is presence and practice, right?
Right.
Is be present with each other and practice, and and have that contract of saying, what, and the day, and when we first got together, this is what we agreed on, but now we need to adjust that contract, right? We need to work and communicate and say, what, that's no longer serving me, that's no longer pleasing me, big on communication and stuff like that. And the reason that I wanted to do this show today with Linda and Charlie and Freddie and Lisbeth is I wanted to get the conversation started. I wanted the conversation of intimacy and relationship to start. I feel that in today's world, relationships are put on the back burner. We're not having these conversations. We're not reaching out. We're not taking these retreats and workshops and all of these incredible resources and services out there. Couples that are actually living it and saying, if you put a little bit of spice in, you might just have a better cup of tea. You might have a little sweeter tea, or you might have a bitter tea, because you're just not listening. You're, listening skills and stuff like that. I really want to give the couples a chance and put their workshops out and courses and stuff like that. Linda had said that they're doing something that they still have spots for. Freddie and Lisbeth always have courses and workshops going on as well. So I want to give you guys that chance to put that out. I'm going to put you guys up as solos and show your books again. We'll get those out, and your final message for everybody that's listening. And let's just keep the conversation going. Let's keep this tea flowing, and let's keep sharing it. And reach out to my guests, because that's what my guests are here for. They're not here just for a conversation. They're here for services and to help you as well. So connect with my guests. All of their information will be in the description part and transcript, so check that out. But I'm going to pop up Linda and Charlie, give your last shout out for your workshops, your book, and all of that good stuff, and then we'll go to Lisbeth and Freddie, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll keep the conversation going with relationship and intimacy.
So, an end to arguing will infuse your relationship with some passion of the wonderful kind, not the kind that drags you down. And Charlie and I are going to be in Massachusetts at Kripalu in the Berkshire Mountains. And there's room available, and Kripalu is a wonderful place to visit. We're the last weekend of this month. We'll be there again the weekend before February. And for people who like to come to Esalen in California, we'll be there on Valentine's weekend. But if you feel inspired, come and be with us at Kripalu. And that would be 25th, 26th, 27th, I think, whatever the last weekend of this month is. And my closing remarks are, there is more in it for each of us over and above emotional well-being. Of course, it's going to perk up our happiness when we have greater relationship skills and more emotional and sexual intimacy is vibrant and passionate. But we also get health and longevity effect from having the love cocktail flowing through our veins. And so I just wanted to say that there is so much in it for us that is rewarding if we put some time and attention, make it a priority, and do our work in this area.
Yeah, real brief for me, just thought of 4 words that I would say are takeaways for me, and maybe for you too. Presence, practice, persistence, and doing that will lead to peace.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. The 4 P's that bring you to the good old peace of intimacy and relationships. I love it, Charlie. I'll pop you guys up, Lisbeth and Freddie, and share your book again. Put it up, and we'll get it out there for you guys.
Sexual Enlightenment, How to Create Lasting Intimacy in Love, How to Create Lasting Fulfillment in Life, Love, and Intimacy, available on our website, tantranova.com, TANTRANOVA.com, Tantranova like supernova. And when you scroll down, when you get to the homepage, all the way down, the book is at the bottom. Just click there, and then you can purchase it on Amazon. It's available in audiobook, on Audible, so whatever you prefer. A great introduction to how you can start connecting with your sexual, emotional, intimate, and spiritual being to become one within and one with your beloved. And we want to invite you as a couple to come to our January 14th through 17th Secrets to Lasting Intimacy workshop here at the Tantra Nova Institute in Chicago. And you can reach us at tantranova@tantranova.com or at the website tantranova.com. Just you can schedule a complimentary consult. And then explore, what that could mean for you, for your relationship, and how you could be supported to have new experiences and expanded experiences in love, life, and intimacy.
Keep owning your upsets. Enjoy your life. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me and taking the time to sit and have this conversation. If anybody else would like to know more about intimacy, relationships, arguing, crisis, and all of that good stuff, I highly recommend these 2 couples. Check them out. Check out their tea times as well. Linda and Charlie were on season 4, and Lisbeth and Freddie were on season 5. So check out the different seasons, check out the different topics. And if you have any questions or you'd like me to connect you to these couples, reach out to Miss Liz at www.misslizsteatime.com or my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. I really want to thank you guys again for joining me and bringing this conversation to the table. And let's just keep flowing the tea. And there's a lot of incredible relationships out there that need this tea. So keep sharing it with your friends, your family, co-workers, all of that good stuff. And check out these incredible workshops. I am really, truly blessed to have you guys a part of my life. And you guys help me more than you realize with today, presence and practice and, persistence, and will bring peace. So thanks for that message, Charlie. Freddie, thank you for, bringing us back to the womb and understanding that it all starts right within us. So again, thank you guys. And I will see everybody back at 7 p.m. with the next Tea Time, where Sean Bridges, a screenwriter and thriller author, is going to be sharing his new book called The Gun Barrel Highway. So we're going to talk about that. And that's about love as well and a deep relationship. So you want to check that one out too. So until then, I will wish everybody a happy day and keep staying true to yourself. Keep serving your tea. We don't serve a beverage in this house. We serve storytelling, words, and making a difference with one cup of tea at a time, one story at a time. So until then, stay true to yourself, and we'll make a difference with this tea. So take care, everybody.
Thank you.